Today we have Ajahn Paul with us who has been teaching in Thailand and Khon Kaen for a while. I think it will be a really good episode about learning English and teaching English in Thailand. So welcome Ajahn Paul. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you again.
We have been friends for many years and it's really nice to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit or tell the audience a little bit how did you come to Thailand and Khon Kaen?
Okay, well, actually, it's quite a long story, so
Okay.
I'll keep it short. But
Okay.
Originally, my first visit to Thailand was after the tsunami.
Oh.
So I came over as a volunteer and was based down south in Phuket and Khao Lak,
Oh.
doing some volunteering projects with school, creating a school and different things like that. And then a few years down there, and then I went back to the UK and did my master degree. And that's where I met some people that were doing their PhD for Khon Kaen University.
Oh.
So that's how they're like, oh, you should come over and teach in Khon Kaen.
Oh wow. Where was that in the
That
UK?
was in Leeds.
In Leeds?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of Thai students studying master and PhD in Leeds.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I finished mine and I came over to Khon Kaen and it's been 12 years
Wow.
in Khon Kaen.
12
Yeah.
years. Wow. So when you came to Khon Kaen and teach here, what was your first impression?
So first of all, it was very different to Phuket, living there and teaching there, and also completely different to the UK. But it was a very pleasant surprise. Khon Kaen, the place is really nice. It feels like the real Thailand. And the people are very different, much more friendly, and just normal. I think is the best way. And again, the students are very different to what I've experienced in other places.
What kind of difference can you tell me?
I think initially when I came to Khon Kaen, they were very polite and very studious, and maybe quite shy. Quite shy, especially of the foreign staff.
I was gonna ask about that because I think Thai students, especially in Khon Kaen, comparing to maybe Bangkok or Phuket, tend to be more shy, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's not many foreigners here, or they're kind of invisible because. So I think, yeah, you're just not exposed to it.
How do you break the ice with the student?
Well, first of all, don't be too serious. I think they're scared that you're going to be this strict
Okay.
teacher, and I think I speak quite slowly anyway, so it's not this high speed thing. So nice and loud and clear, and enunciate each word separately. So obviously I wouldn't speak so slowly in a normal situation, but I am quite slow speaking normally.
So how long did it take you to settle down, obviously life in Khon Kaen, living here, and then breaking the ice with the students, become known as Ajahn Paul? I know you're very close with your student.
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
Well, again, like having to find your style. So like Ajahn Paul or lecturer Paul in England would be, in fact, it wouldn't even be Paul, it'd be Fairclough, using the family name.
Surname.
So there's a distance there. Whereas here, already, you're breaking barriers. Okay, you can use my first name. And I think bringing over maybe as well the British style that once you're at university, a lecturer, okay, you still need to call me by my family name, but we are kind of equals and mutual respect. So you don't need to look up to me or worship me or anything like that. But So I think that's a bit of a different style, and once they realise that here, the students in Konkan, that strict but fair, and we can be equals. I think once they realise that, they can become more relaxed in class.
Did you find it difficult to break that? Because in Thai culture, you know, teachers, lecturers are up there, and there's a kind of clear barrier.
Yeah.
Did it take you long, or how did you break that kind of barrier?
I think it took a while, and of course, once you're outside of, say, my classroom, and we're in the corridors and with other ajans, then it reverts instantly back to the Thai way. Which I think it should be kept. I'm not saying that we should delete Thai culture. It's really nice if you're walking down the corridor and someone says hello to you and whys you or waves or makes eye contact or smiles, anything. Just acknowledge that someone's there is really nice in any culture. But in my classroom, things that, for example, I'd like to walk in and people, if we make eye contact, just smile, say hello, good morning. And one thing that I do ask that students don't do is, for example, if they come to see me at the desk, please don't get on the floor. It makes me feel quite uncomfortable having a student down at my feet. So I was, please pull up a chair, sit equally.
Okay.
And I understand the Thai culture behind that, and I think it's nice, but for me, I would like them to be sat at the same level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I grew up in the UK. I know that the students over there are more argumentative, in discussion, are more willing to raise their hands to ask. For Thai students, when they came back, it was a shock too that try to force them to talk.
Yeah.
To answer your question, to ask anything. Yeah. How did you manage? Even now, I think you're still facing that problem.
Constantly, because it's, I teach mostly first years, so, we go through the first year and then reset, and it's the new batch. So we have them to train the new batch every time. It's okay to ask questions. In fact, that's what we want. So normally, if in a class there'll be one or two that might be courageous enough to actually ask, and maybe for a Thai Ajan that might feel like they're questioning their knowledge, but actually that's the perfect student for me. That's really, they're listening, they're engaging, and they're wanting some clarification. That I know they're not challenging my knowledge, but then the other 99% sat in silent. So that's where I'm sure my students, if they're watching, they hate my roulette that I pull up with the names spinning, or and they will really hate that
the name
the name's pulled up. So maybe that creates a little bit of anxiety, I'm sure, because they never know when their name's going to be called, but it will only be called once. And maybe they will be lucky to escape the class without it.
But it's good for them, right? It's good for them.
Yeah, well, I find they're paying attention because they know at any moment they could be asked a question. And yeah, eventually, after maybe 3-4 weeks, I can scrap the roulette and just people will start to volunteer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So during your 12th year in Thailand, 12 years in Thailand, what has changed in your view in terms of, that generation and this generation? Has anything changed?
I think, obviously, that with technology and after going through the COVID period with online learning, now nearly everyone has an iPad or a tablet, and having encouraged and having to use that during the pandemic, that now trying to get people to go back to handwriting and making notes is really hard. And there are some genuine people out there that are using their tablet making notes, but also there's a lot playing Candy Crush or something.
Yeah.
So trying to go forward with a useful device and useful apps, but also making sure they're not just sat there for 3 hours playing
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
wasting their own time and
Yeah.
their money.
What I heard a lot is the students during COVID, with online teaching and learning. Was that troublesome? Because I mean, imagining teaching in Thai, but then, in English, a second language, then online. How was that for you?
Well, as you know, for all of us, it was like an overnight switch,
Yeah.
which we've never really done. In my colleagues in the English language division, we did a practice few like Zoom calls because we never used it before, and we were like, so when it came to the first class, we kind of knew how to use the things. But one of the biggest things we realized, and we kept adapting, were creating rules and etiquette for online teaching. So maybe we were the strictest, but things like cameras must be on at all times, which upsets some people even to this day, because of privacy. However, I think that really worked because they were there, they were engaged. Whereas now after that, when we occasionally have an online class, it's very difficult to have people engaged. But back then, I think because this was the new normal, they couldn't really hide.
Yep.
Which meant they were engaging, they were ready to answer questions because we were quite strict. If they didn't answer, they would lose points and things like that.
Okay, so going back a little bit about yourself, during these 12 years, how have you adapted to Thai culture, and how do you find yourself change as a teacher and also as a person?
Okay, so yeah, for both, I'd say I've become more relaxed in both personality and as a teacher. So, what does that mean? Maybe
Because British are known for being quite serious.
Yeah.
In a lot of things that they do, right? And
yeah, I mean we have rules, we follow them, and if you don't, we find that quite frustrating.
like traffic in Thailand, in Khon Kaen.
Yeah, yeah. So that can be really hard, and yeah, in the UK, if you experience that kind of traffic, you would get road rage.
Yep.
And here we just have to acknowledge it's happening. It will never change. And so just leave earlier, and
Yeah.
whereas before, I might have got quite frustrated about that.
Yeah.
And again with the students, like clarifying, no, when this class starts at 9, I mean 9. I think again the students will adapt within 1 or 2 weeks. Like, oh, he really does mean 9.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Point deduction and
Yeah.
penalty and other things, and yeah, exactly. I mean, the time in Thailand, when you say on time, is kind of like one thing.
Yeah. So I've adapted to that, but with some leeway. Whereas before, I'd be really,
Yep.
that's it. You're not coming in.
Lock the door.
Yeah.
What about assignment and homework and things like that for Thai students?
Yeah, so that's got better again since COVID, because now we're using things like Google Classroom. So there is no leeway. It locks at the time we set. I found that's been easier for me and more clear cut for the student. Whereas when they used to hand in a paper assignment to me, or leave it on my desk, even though I've already gone home. So we would have to accept it late, or there was kind of a grey area where they could get
Yeah.
it in. Whereas now they just have to accept they missed the deadline. So, and it's also good because, and which I wouldn't never do in the UK, I send multiple reminders. The deadline's this week, the deadline's in 3 days, the deadline. So there's no way they can't say they didn't know.
Do you feel like you have to hold their hand kind of more comparing to in the UK?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Hold their hand or by the ear, pull them to pass. Not all of them. This
Yep.
is just a few, but definitely. Whereas, in the UK, it would be the attitude would be, well, it's up to them.
Yep.
If they want to fail, let them.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing that I've learned when I was very young is about writing essay. That you have to be very argumentative, expressive, which is never done that before. I moved there when I was 12, and then when your teacher asked to express some ideas, some more argument, it was so hard for me. Is it the same here, writing essay for Thai student? You gotta squeeze them.
Essay writing's difficult. I think maybe it's one of the lower skills, as lower ability of skills that they have. So speaking, perhaps listening, and reading, but the writing, just structuring sentences still and paragraphs is already difficult. Never mind asking them to have an opinion. They quite often ask me, what is the opinion? Or what is your opinion?
Okay.
So for example, classic, because we use the Cambridge program, so who also write IELTS, so it's all interlinked. So it'll be common things like, should animals live in the zoo? And they ask me, what do you think, Jean-Paul? Well, no, I want to know what you think. And anything is correct. It's just, can you structure your argument? And we look at how to structure arguments prior to this, but they're looking for what would please me, which, by the way, is there should be no zoos because I'm an animal lover. However, I am quite happy to give an A to a student who believes we should have zoos, as long as they can give a good enough argument. So I think that's really difficult, trying to let them know that they can have their own opinion. And still, I think they still want to know what I want them to say.
That's what Thai students tend to, serve the lecturers and things like that. So for the people that really just starting, the one that thinking, because you're teaching at KKUIC, International College, right?
Yeah.
And everyone is like, I want to get in there, but my, ability, speaking, writing, reading, English overall is really bad. What would you recommend them do?
So I would say, please don't let that deter you from applying. I'm not going to go into great detail on the application process, but you have an interview. If you don't already have an English score like IELTS or TOEIC, anything like that, you can take the IC entrance exam, which includes the speaking interview and a reading and writing test and a maths test, depending on your major. And from that, and as you'll probably know in your heart, you might be lower ability or medium, which might not be sufficient to start the program. There's a course called ESAP, which is called English for Specific Academic Purposes, and it's like a preparation course, which will bring you up to, in the Common European Framework, B1 level, which is sufficient to start the program in first year. And that's normally, you can study that in the summer. It's intensive, 135 hours, and it's needed. And I think it's so good for the students because it's so intensive. It's 100% English. Yeah, it's a real English program, but also it adapts the students from school time through to being a university student. So what's expected, the different kind of rules and regulations at university. Anyway, after that program comes to the end, and you pass it, you can enter the first year program, and yeah, it's really successful.
What about in their own time, even before they're thinking about taking this kind of course, or during the time that they're taking the course, like at home, what can they do in their leisure time?
Okay, so obviously practice makes perfect, and there's lots of free websites online. I don't know if I can mention them.
You can.
There's one called examenglish.com, and it's a free website that has all the different tests that are available around the world, examples of them. You can do practice lessons, you can do practice tests, then you can work out yourself which is your weaker skill, which is your stronger skill, and focus on that, like self-study. You don't need to pay lots of money to go to these different tutoring schools. Not that they're bad, they're good too, but first of all, start off with recognizing by yourself what you need to improve. And I think when I've spoken to our students, quite often they're not actually learning English, they're just trying to learn like how to get IELTS Band 7. But yes, knowing the test, knowing the exams, you need to know it, but you also need to know the content first. So you need to.
There's a lot of free tools available.
There is lots,
right?
yeah.
Even YouTube and things.
Watching videos, and preferably, well, maybe to start with subtitles, but that's again one of the things my students that have studied with me with the summer program. We might watch a movie. And it'll be the first time in their life maybe that the movie is shown with no subtitles. And we don't expect them to understand everything.
Okay.
But I always give the example when people are begging me, please put the subtitles on, at least in English. And I always give my classic example when I go to the cinema in Thailand and I go to the English language. A lot of people in the audience are laughing, and it takes maybe 5-10 seconds until I'm laughing. Because the subtitles were faster than the film. So clearly they're reading and not listening. So we try and do things like that. It is difficult. You're not going to understand everything. But you will never develop if you're reading subtitles.
I think they just need to take risk, you know, because my mom just sent me over there. I had no choice. There was nothing, so I had no choice. You have to do it, right?
Absolutely, absolute immersion, sink or swim.
And when you were talking about practicing, I think there's a few apps where you can have like a pen pal, but now it's video pal that you can practice, right?
I mean, going back to when I was at school, we had a choice of French and German when we were at high school, and being British, we are very fortunate that we can travel the world and speak our native language. So it makes us pretty lazy to be honest, we call modern foreign languages are very low on the priority in the UK. Again, because why would you need to? Apart from as travel people, it's so much better if you can speak the language of the country you're in. So it's laughed at. No one takes it seriously. The classes are just because they have to do them an hour a week. It just so we can say we did it. It's not very good.
Yeah.
And our teachers were just British teachers that had a degree, so they again. It wasn't until we had the German exchange, and this is something I thought we might talk about as well. Is getting people to leave and go out of the country. So up until that point, the German class was a laugh. It was a joke. It was a waste of time. It was, you could just chat with your friends, and no one's learning anything. And then we had the German exchange, and luckily the students from Germany came to us first, and they came over, and everyone had to host one student at your home. So they came in and stayed with us for about 10 days. They came to class with us. The school organised day trips, weekend trips. It was amazing. I didn't speak much German though with them. Because they would come to speak English with us, and then they all left. And then a couple of months later, it was our turn to go there, and off we went. And we, all of a sudden, I was in a little house in the middle of Germany with a family that couldn't speak English, apart from their son. And total immersion. I was saying, like, thinking back now, I made loads of mistakes, but just had to get on with it. Then had to go to school. We had classes 100% in German.
Wow.
And the good thing as well, though, we were split up. So we didn't just stay in a group of British people. We were all put one in each class.
Nice.
So we couldn't stick together, and it was brilliant. And that really changed. When we came back, we were like, actually, we want to learn. And one of the funny things as well we discovered was our teacher had taught us like high German. So we were speaking extremely posh, and kind of not normal. So we were asking, can we learn normal German, not kind of royal governmental words.
Nice. Okay. So talk about immersion. How's your Thai now?
So that's where practice what you preach.
You can speak a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I would say I have plateaued, so I've come to a level where I can survive in my everyday life.
Yep. Understand.
Which means I can go shopping, I can go to the bank.
Order food, etc.
Can I have a conversation? Not really. But I can get through the year and do all the things I need to do. So cool. I am not doing what I tell my students to do. I think I need to, even though I'm here, and I'm in Thailand, my environment is not 100% Thai.
Yes.
KYC, we use English at all times.
Yes.
So maybe if I was in another place, it might be different. But and it's not that I don't want to learn it.
Sure.
I really do.
Yeah.
I even have the baby books at home with Gorgai, and I keep drawing them.
Thai is very difficult. Very difficult. I think even for me. So lastly, I think if there was the students that want to really learn English and thinking about, I want to go abroad sometime in the future, what would be your recommendation for that person to prepare, or kind of mindset? Or even the one that thinking, hey, KQIC, I want to go there, I want to learn with the Chan Paul. What kind of mindset or preparation do they need?
Okay, so like I was mentioning about my experience with German, you've got to go there and split up a little bit. So don't just go as a tour group,
Understand.
because you will just visit the country. You're not going to visit the culture or anything like that.
Yeah.
So please think about what kind of a thing you're doing, an exchange or a study visit. They're totally different. And, if you came to IC, that might build up your confidence, yeah, and bring you up to a certain level where you can go and have a successful experience. You might want to study your undergrad with us and then do your masters abroad.
Yep.
But definitely do it. It just opens your mind to a whole new world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. I think get a lot of information today, and hopefully we can have you again in the future. But for today, thank you, Ajahn Paul.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.